Good afternoon. Welcome to Convocation. Thanks for coming today. We have a great program for you, but before we get there and before I introduce today's presenter, let me give you a few announcements. Let's see. Next week on Wednesday, the jazz department is having a concert right here at 7 o'clock, and I'm not sure that's on your schedule, so those of you taking the class for credit, be sure to count that one. Also, next Monday night, Harvard professor Naomi Oreskes, author of the book Merchants of Doubt, How a Handful of Scientists Obscured the Truth on Issues from Tobacco, Smoke to Global Warming, will be our Tanner lecturer. She's going to speak in here at 7 o'clock next Monday night. Many of you will be getting extra credit in other classes, but you can also get credit for Convocation. If you've missed two and you still would like to miss another, or if you've missed more than two, three, and you want to make that one up, or if you just like to count this as one of your Thursdays, please bring a blue card with you Monday night, and we'll collect blue cards as people leave from the Tanner lecture at 7 o'clock here. The title is Climate Change and Human Values. She's an international expert on climate change. So I hope you'll come to that. That's Monday here, the Tanner lecture. Don't forget. Another announcement, if you've missed more than two classes and you're not sure, we have a list on the back wall in the foyer as you leave with the student numbers of students who've missed more than two convocations. Also, last week I had two people try and turn in two cards. I know if your roommate's sleeping and says, hey, turn in a card for me, it's tempting, but please don't do it. You'll both get in trouble. Please just turn in one blue card each time you leave. Thanks very much. Snow College Business Club will be selling hats for $10, am I right? Blankets for $15 to raise money for the Student Business Club. They'll be for sale right out here in the foyer following today's convocation. A special thanks today to all of our technicians who help us. And also I'd like to give a special congratulations, which I'm not sure I've done yet, to Matthew and to our video specialists, Matthew and Trishelle, who have been doing video now for a year, and it worked out so well they're engaged to be married. Would you all give them a round of applause, please? Congratulations. Deepika Papneja is currently a Fulbright Scholar in residence at Thomas College in Maine. As part of her Fulbright Fellowship, she's teaching courses in mathematics education, gender studies, elementary education, and early childhood education at the Department of Education at Thomas College. After her Fulbright Fellowship, July of this year, she will resume her work as assistant professor at the Department of Elementary Education, Lady Shri College for Women, University of Delhi in India. She's an alumna of Lady Shri College for Women, having done her bachelor's degree from the Department of Elementary Education, and she was awarded a master's in education from the University of Delhi and a master's in sociology from Jawaharlal Nehru University in New Delhi, India. If you would please welcome Deepika Papneja. Thank you. I'll put this over here for you. Oh, it's going to have to come down.
Okay, is this fine? Awesome. A very good afternoon to all of you. A big thank you to Dr. Cheryl, Dr. Nagwa Nawar, and Steve for coordinating this and having me at Snow College. Faculty, students, and my dear friends. Namaste. I bring you greetings from New Delhi, India. In India, we use the salutation Namaste to greet people. Namaste is a Sanskrit word which, when translated into English, means that my soul recognizes your soul. I honor the light, love, beauty, truth, and kindness within you, because it is also within me. In sharing these things, there are no differences and no distance between us. We are the same and we are one. So I fold my hands in humility and greet you as we in India believe that we are not above or beneath anyone. It is a singular honor to be in the midst of this diverse group of people today. Thank you for this honor and opportunity of delivering the Convocation lecture at Snow College. I'm extremely humbled to be addressing this inspiring community. When Dr. Cheryl shared with me a few weeks ago that I would be delivering the Convocation lecture on India, I was, to be honest, quite confused and anxious, but at the same time extremely excited. I wondered to myself, what possibly could I say to such an esteemed audience that would keep them interested for an hour and which at the same time would be novel and innovative? Also, how could I possibly share everything about my country, which is another name for diversity itself, in only about 40 minutes? I would probably need a couple of weeks for that. So I did what I usually do in moments of confusion and chaos. I closed my eyes and tried to imagine the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear the word India. And this is what came in front of my eyes. A bright, sunny morning. A morning of hope and endless possibilities. And in that morning, I saw people basking in the glory of that bright sunshine. People from all walks of life. People beyond difference, stereotypes, and discrimination. And in that sunrise, I saw the rise of humanity. Sounds like wishful thinking, doesn't it? In these difficult times of injustice, inequality, poverty, and discrimination all over the world, it is hard to think of an image like this. But let me share you why and how I could conceive of such an interpretation of India. Why my mind cooked up such an image at the mere mention of the word India. In order to explain what India, its history, its culture, and its people mean to me, I will have to tell you my life story, where I come from, who and what inspire me and are my driving force, and what I stand for in life, as there are numerous factors which have contributed to my understanding of a world beyond borders and have helped me to become the global, multicultural, plural, diverse individual that I am today. As most of you know, I come from India, the world's largest democracy and the world's oldest civilization, a country with a population of approximately 1.2 billion people, a nation with 28 states and 7 union territories, a country where people speak more than 1,700 dialects. A famous proverb explains this multi-ethnic and multilingual nature of my country beautifully. Kos kos par badle pani, char kos pe bani, which translates into, at every mile in India, the taste of water changes, and at every 4 miles, the dialect around you. A nation that was colonized for a century, India has come a long way to build its own identity and carve its niche in the world, while preserving its rich cultural heritage. India has multiple identities, given that there are so many variations at all levels, geographical and physical, languages spoken, religions, ethnicities, socioeconomic backgrounds, to name a few. On one hand, the tall buildings and the chaotic traffic and characterize the metropolitan cities. On the other hand, are open spaces and traditional means of transport, such as the bullock cart in the villages. I would, however, like the visitors and tourists to appreciate both the aspects as coexistence without passing a value judgment on one over the other. Even in villages, most of the people do not live in the huts, as I'm many times asked. India is extremely diverse, so it would be unfair to limit the list to 1 or 2 places. Every place in India has its own natural charm and beauty, along with the rich cultural heritage. I would suggest visiting South, perhaps Kerala, the God's own country, to enjoy the serenity of backwaters and have a relaxing massage in a houseboat. There are lots of architecturally well-designed temples in southern India. Tamil Nadu, which shares its border with Kerala, is convenient if you're already in Kerala, and a visit at the time of worship is must to feel the spirit and the fervor. There are lots of monuments and religious places in northern India. One of them is the world-famous Golden Temple. The visit to this Gurdwara must include eating the langar, which is food served to the community for free 24/7, 365. Rajasthan is again very popular among tourists and visitors due to the rich heritage and beauty and charm of the desert and the sand dunes. The state has numerous historical monuments which tell tales of its royal inhabitants in the past. The 7 states, popularly known as the 7 Sisters in the Northeast, have lots of traditional culture, including art, music, and dance. I would recommend Assam for the tea gardens and the rich ethnic heritage. So in a sense, you might have to plan multiple trips to India to be fully cognizant of its diversity and vastness. Apart from the above-mentioned culturally and historically significant places, an understanding of India's rich diversity and beauty is incomplete without visiting and acknowledging the magnificent symbol of love and commitment that is the Taj Mahal. At about the same time the pilgrims were landing at the Plymouth Rock, the Taj Mahal was being built. This was almost about 400 years ago. It took over 10 years and to build this majestic monument. More than 20,000 people and 1,000 elephants helped build it. The Taj Mahal is in Agra in the state of Uttar Pradesh near New Delhi, the capital of India in North India. Shah Jahan, who was the emperor of India from 1628 to 1658, deeply loved his wife Mumtaz Mahal. She died in 1631 when she was giving birth to their 14th child. The emperor was so heartbroken that he decided to build this massive tomb in honor of their love and commitment. The two of them are buried together inside the Taj Mahal today. Since Shah Jahan loved his wife so much, he only used the finest marble from Russia. He also made sure that beautiful gems decorated her tomb. The Taj Mahal is one of the 7 wonders of the world. The night view of the Taj Mahal, which is open to the public once every month on Full Moon's Day, will surely take your breath away. It is a great tribute to love. The history of India begins with evidence of human activity of Homo sapiens as long as 75,000 years ago. The Indus Valley civilization, which spread and flourished in the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent from 3300 to 1300 BC in present-day Pakistan and northwest India, was the first major civilization in South Asia. A sophisticated and technologically advanced urban culture developed in the mature Harappa period from 2600 to 1900 BC. This civilization collapsed at the start of the second millennium and was later followed by the Iron Age Vedic civilization, which extended much over the Indo-Gangetic plain. In one of these kingdoms, Magad, Mahavir, and Gautam Buddha, who are very famous all over the world, were born in the 6th century BC and propagated their religious philosophies. Most of the subcontinent was conquered by the Mauryan Empire during the 4th and the 3rd centuries. Various parts of India were ruled by numerous middle kingdoms for the next 1500 years, among which the Gupta Empire stands out. This period, witnessing a Hindu religious and intellectual resurgence, is known as the classical or golden age of India. During this period, aspects of Indian civilization, administration, culture, and religion, that is Hinduism and Buddhism, spread to much of Asia, while kingdoms in southern India had maritime business links with the Roman Empire. The early medieval period, Indian mathematics influenced the development of mathematics and astronomy in the Arab world, and Hindu numerals were introduced. Muslim rule started in some parts of North India in the 13th century, when the Delhi Sultanate was established in 1206. The Delhi Sultanate ruled the major part of northern India in the early 14th century, but declined in the late 14th century, which saw the emergence of several powerful Hindu empires. In the 16th century, Mughal rule came from Central Asia to cover most of the parts of northern India. The Mughal Empire suffered a gradual decline in the early 18th century. Beginning in the late 18th century and over the next century, large areas of India were annexed by the British East India Company. Dissatisfaction with the company rule led to the Indian Rebellion of 1857, after which the British provinces of India were directly administered by the British Queen and witnessed a period of both rapid development of infrastructure and, at the same time, sadly, economic stagnation. During the first half of the 20th century, a nationwide struggle for independence was launched, and with the leading party involved being the Indian National Congress, which was later joined by the Muslim League as well. The subcontinent gained independence from the United Kingdom in 1947, 15th of August, after the British provinces were partitioned into the dominions of India and Pakistan, and all the princely states acceded to one of the new states. A sharing of Indian history would be incomplete without mentioning the huge contributions of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, popularly known as Mahatma Gandhi to the world. Aptly called the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi led India to its freedom due to his firm determination, unfettered spirit, and belief in nonviolence, truth, and unity in diversity. While this vast, mind-boggling history and diversity might seem like a challenge and problem to most all over the world, India, a 66-year young nation, took this very diversity in its stride and made unity in diversity not only its motto, but also a way of life. The rich and varied heritage of the subcontinent is reflected in the diverse food, clothing, dance forms, music, art, languages, faiths, religion, and architecture found across the country, which are reminders and influences of the numerous empires and dynasties who ruled over India and left an indelible mark on it. India, a country which is millions of miles away from the faulty and stereotyped depiction which has become its identity in the West. Slumdog Millionaire. Trust me, it is nowhere close to the real India, which we fondly address as Incredible India. No person or place is 100% pure or pristine. There are faults and problems everywhere in the world. And like all nations, India is slowly trying to emerge in spite of its limitations and learn from its mistakes, and therefore is the true embodiment for me of unity in diversity. Within India, I belong to New Delhi, the capital city, and oftentimes called the heart of India. Situated in northern India, New Delhi can be simply understood as India's New York. It is a melting pot of about 20 million people, compared to about 5,000 in Ephraim and about 16,000 in Waterville, Maine, where I am teaching currently on a Fulbright. These 20 million people who have come from all parts of India and the world and have made Delhi their home, either for work, educational opportunities, or for healthcare facilities. The capital city of Delhi has a long history, including her history as the capital of several empires. The earliest architectural relics date back to the Mauryan period around 300 BC. Since then, the site has seen continuous settlement. 8 major cities have been situated in the Delhi area. The first 5 cities were in the southern part of present-day Delhi. Delhi is generally considered a close to 5,000-year-old city, as per ancient Indian text, the Mahabharata, the great Indian epic, since the first ever mention of this city is found in this religious scripture. Extensive coverage of Delhi's history begins with the onset of the Delhi Sultanate in the 12th century. Since then, Delhi has been the seat of Islamic and British rulers until India's independence in 1947. The core of Delhi's tangible heritage is Islamic, spanning over 7 centuries of Islamic rule over the city, with some British-styled architectures and zones in Lutyens, Delhi, dating to the British rule in India. Whatever records exist of Delhi in the form of scriptures or archaeological evidences, they crown Delhi as the capital city of some empire or the other all throughout, with minor random breaks in between, making Delhi one of the longest serving capitals and one of the oldest inhabited cities all over the world. It is considered to be a city built, destroyed, and rebuilt several times, as outsiders who successfully invaded the Indian subcontinent would ransack the existing capital city, and those who came to conquer and stay would be so impressed by the city's strategic location, they made their capital and rebuilt it in their own way. Each ruling kingdom, dynasty, and colonizer in the past have left their distinct impression on Delhi and given it the beauty and flavor that it possesses today. On a more personal level, I was born and brought up in New Delhi to parents who were growing up in the decades when the wounds and bruises of the partition of the country that took place in August 1947 were still fresh in the minds and hearts of people. At a time when trauma of loss and separation from one's ancestral roots and belongings when the trauma of loss and separation from one's ancestral roots and belongings was still vividly etched in people's memories. My grandparents had to leave their home and hearth in the newly created state of Pakistan and had to get on the one train to and from Pakistan if they wanted to save their lives. They were separated at the time of partition after they got engaged on the other side of the border, only to be reunited on the Indian side. My grandmother used to joke with me that had her father not spotted my grandfather in the market one day, I would have had a different grandfather, as there was no way of communicating or locating my grandfather in the huge sea of people who had come to the other side of the border, leaving behind all kinds of belongings, both material and emotional. Partition was an extremely dark chapter in the history of India, but even in those times of extreme strife, trials, and tribulations, and huge amounts of mistrust in the fellow human being, there were people like my grandparents who did not accept defeat at the hands of those who wanted to divide and rule, and still wished and prayed for a unified India. It was a difficult period for Indians, as the joy of independence and freedom from the British was coupled with the sorrow of being divided and separated from one's own brothers and sisters. India was often known as the Golden Bird by people who colonized her, and there were people who hoped that the glory and charm would return to their motherland. It gives me immense pride that I belong to a community that through its solidarity and strong will came together, created everything from scratch, and rebuilt its honor and strength, and restored faith of the humanity in its diversity. New Delhi is not just my place of birth, but also my place of worship. And I say that because I went to school in Delhi and I got all my educational degrees in Delhi. Also, I started my first job at an institution which is much more than a workplace. It is a college where I not only earned my bachelor's degree, but also learned my next levels in diversity. Lady Shri College for Women, popularly known as LSR to the world, is ranked as one of the best among the 33,000 colleges in the country. It believes in turning education of quality into a resource for society to make a better world. Its experiential motives taught me to strive for excellence with equity, thereby harmonizing the disciplines of structure with democratic space. Despite being able to give admission to only about 600 exceptional students out of the 120,000 students who apply every year, yes, only about 0.5% of students who apply manage to get through LSR. It still manages to have an extremely diverse student body with students representing not only all the states in India, but also other countries in the world. It also celebrates and welcomes the differently abled. LSR, which we use as an acronym for Learn, Speak, and Reflect, instills in all its alumna a passion for dialogic reflection, engaged learning, and a striving for succeeding without vying. It encourages us to turn every challenge into an opportunity. It is also popularly used as an acronym for leadership with social responsibility. It teaches young, motivated, passionate women to assume leadership roles and positions, but also redefine notions of success and to always give back to the community, thereby reiterating that there is life beyond us. The college, both during my years as a student and now as a faculty member, has given me numerous opportunities to be exposed to the ideas, thoughts, and expertise of distinguished speakers from all around the world. LSR recognizes the importance of interacting with not only the experts in the field, but also members of the community, which lends to its strong belief in learning beyond the classroom and turning the metaphor of received curriculum and knowledge on its head. The college also understands the importance of international linkages and fostering partnerships in this multinational globalized world. This will be more meaningful when I share with you a short film made on my college LSR during the Golden Jubilee celebrations in 2006 by one of its very talented alumna, Ms. Vandana Kohli, a celebrated musician and documentary filmmaker. We take pride in celebrating all the distinguished women who broke the proverbial glass ceiling and made a mark in diverse fields wherever they went in the world, including the Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi, who studied at LSR in 1950s.
Was a very, very practical man. He thought of what is going to be useful. When he started the Lady Shri Ram College, it was started in a rented building in Daryaganj. And sometime I asked him really that why didn't he wait to start the thing when the buildings were set up and all that in a modern way. He said, if you want to do something good, don't wait. He realized that for the development of the country, education is the first thing. And he was very lucky to have got Mrs. Dastu to be the first principal of the college. She really gave whatever philosophy the college has today. It was really her creation, and I think we are all very grateful to her. Basically, it is that we have been very lucky in continuously having good principles.
LSR encourages you to face challenges and turn every challenge into an opportunity.
LSR gets the best, most motivated women students in the country.
accepted for what you are, and you're like different and unique in your own way, and it's lovely.
ELSA gave me a lot of opportunity, not only exposure to be able to do things, but a whole canvas of, I would say, leadership.
I think the beginnings of making choices for yourself came from LSR.
LSR has made me what I am. It introduced me to so many minds, and those minds in turn opened so many further windows.
It was a kind of a learning ground at various levels, how to work in a team, how to meet deadlines, how to kind of engage yourself in various issues, very diverse, very complex.
Though I was always a very confident child, I think LSR groomed me to be a more confident woman. It has given me the confidence to explore my mind.
It was like a workshop where the mind and the body, everything kind of worked overtime. And when you came out, you were actually prepared to take on the world.
Tremendous faculty, and at all times I felt totally encouraged by this group of faculty and friends who were saying, go for it, you can do it, you can do it.
I think the best thing that LSR gave all of us is an amazing peer group. It's an amazing peer group.
I would say that LSR has some distinguished alumni, and the most famous, of course, is Aung San Suu Kyi. We didn't know that she was going to be a Nobel Prize winner and, one of the most famous women in the world.
LSR tries to give you the context for growth, for creativity, for experimentation, but it also demands of you the disciplines of academic commitment, intellectual integrity, and a kind of striving for perfection. I welcome you to participate in the magic of LSR.
Taught us the concept of giving back to society, that there's life beyond us.
I don't think I will be a number in this college, but I will be a person with a name. With a name. With a name.
Even though the college espouses and transacts what one understands as modern global education that prepares one for the world arena, yet the college celebrates and cherishes the traditional Indian system of education, the Gurukul system. The word Gurukul is a contraction of the Sanskrit guru, which means teacher or master, and kul, which stands for extended family. In a Gurukul, the students lived together as equals and helped the guru in his day-to-day life, irrespective of their social standing, including carrying out of everyday chores such as washing clothes, cooking, cleaning, etc. Typically, a guru did not receive any fees from the students studying with him. At the end of his or her studies, a student offered the guru a dakshina, which was a traditional gesture of acknowledgement, respect, and thanks to the guru before leaving the Gurukul. It is obvious that in such an arrangement, the diverse group of young students who had to leave their homes and families and stay together in very modest and humble settings together created a new metaphor for community living, tolerance, and diversity. Thus, the LSR College community, drawing from this rich tradition, is like an extended family posing as a safe haven for many from the country and also from the world. Thanks to my alma mater and the prayers of all those who stood with me through thick and thin, I am now a part of an extremely competitive and prestigious community, the Fulbright Community. The Fulbright program, the US government's flagship program in international educational exchange, was proposed to the US Congress in 1945 by the then Senator J.W. Fulbright. In the aftermath of World War II, Senator Fulbright viewed the proposed program as a much-needed vehicle for promoting mutual understanding between the people of the United States and people of other countries of the world. His vision was approved by Congress and the program signed into law by President Truman in 1946. The US-India Fulbright Partnership is a special one, as the Fulbright Nehru program offers the largest number of grants available worldwide, with more than 80 grants every year. India offers grants for teaching and research in its retitled Fulbright Nehru Award, which is open to faculty and professionals in all disciplines. Being part of this esteemed community, with a rich legacy and heritage of scholars from more than 150 countries over the past 60 years, has re-emphasized the importance of solidarity to me, especially as the diversity within this community is at a level that very few get to experience. But it also assumes much importance in these times of shrinking borders. The Fulbright community has common goals and aspirations, which are solidarity, peace building, conflict resolution, and exchange of ideas and possibilities. The roles and responsibilities of being a Fulbright scholar are far beyond the popular advertisement of cultural exchange. It means getting out of your comfort zone, and in my case, several time zones, but it gives one an opportunity to engage in critical inquiry, initiate dialogues for transformation, educate and be educated, learn and teach, de-learn, and then relearn. It gave me the opportunity to grow both roots and wings. The experience also gave me the opportunity to travel across the United States and be welcomed with open arms into this beautiful community that is Snow College. Had I been given an opportunity to select a host institution for my Fulbright experience, I would not have been able to select a college better than Thomas College in Maine. I often tell people that I'm extremely blessed because I did not choose Thomas. Thomas chose me. I say that with a deep sense of gratitude and humility. I was welcomed and accepted into the Thomas community with open arms and huge smiles. It has allowed me to learn and evolve academically, professionally, and personally. Thank you to all those who walk with me every day and teach me with renewed vigor and enthusiasm that diversity does not know borders, time zones, language, skin color, or nationality. Another huge influence in my understanding of diversity and community building is my deep religious and spiritual faith in Hinduism. Hinduism, which is believed to be the oldest religion in the world, establishes that we are all part of Brahma, the creator, and thereby we are one and united by common goals and hopes. The word God itself is an acronym for the trilogy of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, where G refers to Lord Brahma, who generates or creates, O indicates Lord Vishnu, who observes, and D refers to Lord Vishnu, who destroys. It is the most scientific religion in the world and believes in the creation of the world from nothing and its end as nothing, thereby regenerating itself like a scientific system, much like the Big Bang Theory. My vision of solidarity as unification of people beyond borders also comes from the Sanskrit phrase Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which in English means that the whole world is one single family. Everyone has their own worldview, which is quite different from person to person, and Vasudeva Kutumbakam emphasizes respecting this difference. Lastly, my final layer of understanding of Indian diversity and community building has its roots in Indian philosophy. The celebrated Indian poet and Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore placed a lot of emphasis on the idea of confluence. This confluence, or samagam in Hindi, for me is India. Confluence of not just new ideas and thoughts, but also traditions and customs. This confluence is free-flowing, fluid, flexible, and knows how to create new paths of exploration and discovery after merging difference and dissonance. It gives space to unique voices, but also celebrates the chorus. It embraces the new, but also celebrates the old. It respects the new and the radical, but also remembers the seasoned and the experienced. This confluence prides itself in the stability of life, but also fears its impermanence. This confluence of people, communities, and nations, for me, is India. This fusion and synthesis, for me, is India. This samagam, for me, is India. I welcome all of you to experience the diversity that is India, the plurality that is India, the aesthetic beauty that is India, the magic that is India. Namaste. Thank you. I believe we have about 3-4 minutes for questions. So. Well, just like the rest of the world, there is gender inequality in India too. And if you compare the statistics of violence, abuse, rape in India and compare them to the United States, you'll be shocked to see that they're comparable. And this is true of every nation in the world currently. A lot of people think that we are post-feminist now, that there's equality everywhere and no problems, and we've moved beyond that fight for equality. But there's so much work that needs to be done all over the world. And like the rest of the world, India too, especially women at the grassroots, have had a lot of important roles to play, and India, as in I would say that women in the 21st century are contributing towards global world equality. So thanks for asking this question. And just as an Indian, but also as a global citizen, I would urge you to not rely so much on what the media tells you, but sort of just keep an open mind and embrace everything that sort of comes your way and shakes you out of your comfort zone. So thank you for asking that. Okay, I've been asked this question 1,000,001 times, and I'm still going to answer that the way I always do. What I'm wearing on my forehead is like a stick-on tattoo. It's like a sticker. It can come off, and you can put it back on a couple of times before the glue sort of runs out. But what I'm wearing is called a bindi, B-I-N-D-I, and just like the bangle or the earrings, it's like a fashion accessory now. Traditionally, let's say 100 years ago, this was only worn by married women as a symbol of their marriage status. And now, a lot of young women in their teens also, in their 20s, those who are unmarried, when they're wearing an ethnic outfit or an Indian outfit, just to sort of make it more pretty and beautiful, they would sort of wear this bindi. But it has nothing to do with your marital status now. There's something else that is a definite marker of your marital status, which is vermilion, a little powder between your middle parting of your hair. And that is only worn by Indian women as a symbol of their marital status. So I, for any reason, will never adorn it as a fashion statement till the time I'm being married. So that's the difference between the bindi, which can now be worn as a fashion statement. A lot of Westerners also wear it when they wear Indian outfits, or just because it looks pretty. But sindoor is something that I will not wear till I'm married. Even though it goes very well with my outfit, I wouldn't. So. Oh, sorry. Any other? I don't see. Okay. So I'm getting the wave, which means that it's time for me to wrap up. Thank you. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be addressing this extremely beautiful audience. Thank you.